Ted Lasso Season 3, Episode 4, now out on Apple TV for you guys to go and check out. We're going to talk about this episode. Let me know in the comments below, what did you guys think of this episode? Did you love it? Did you hate it? Smash it down there. Smash that like button for me and click subscribe. And let's talk Ted Lasso, Episode 4 of Season 3 right now. Okay, so Ted Lasso Season 3, Episode 4, The Return of Nate. Nate the Great. He is back. This one is all about Richmond going to the London Stadium to compete against West Ham. And the build-up between Ted and Nate's confrontation for the very first time since last season is upon us. Now, in this episode, we start to discover some things about Nate that we didn't particularly know about, that are starting to come to the surface, and some ideas that we might have to where this season could be going and heading. We also see Ted deal with some situations and some emotional stuff that he is dealing with, while we also have Keely stuff going on with her and her company and her friend, while Rebecca obviously is still having that infamous battle with Rupert. And we have the return of the dynamic duo Roy and Jamie as they team up to make Jamie better than Zava. Now, I really enjoyed this episode quite a lot. Now, let's start off with Nate. Let's start off there. Obviously, we have Nate coming back. And what I love about this episode is, look, we know Nate's going down this villain arc. We know from last season, the ending wasn't quite, how we would have wanted to see Nate part ways with Ted and Richmond. Obviously, he's going through that Mourinho stage with the look and everything like that. But in this episode, we actually find out that Nate feels bad about the way that he left Richmond, the way that he left Ted. He doesn't feel like it was right. He wants to apologize to Ted. And there's this beautiful moment in an elevator where you still see Nate hiding in the corner like Nate is. Like, there are so many things where Nate does what Nate used to do. And Ted's in the elevator, everyone leaves, and he sees him. And then at that moment, you just see that Nate's about to apologize to Ted about the way they left. And then obviously it gets disrupted when the elevator opens, and who's there? Rupert. So now we know that deep down, Nate is really feeling sorry for the way that he left, and that he wants to apologize. But it's Rupert who is projecting his own personality onto Nate himself, which I absolutely love. I think that is fantastic writing. It's a fantastic creative choice as well. Projecting that personality of Rupert onto Nate and basically having Rupert manipulate Nate into doing what Rupert wants done. I find that absolutely fantastic. So everyone out there that's saying that Nate is a pure villain and hate him and hate his guts, everything like that, he's still Nate on the inside. And we can see that he's trying to reach out and ask for help and forgiveness. And he wants to rebuild that bridge with Ted. And you see that throughout this episode where he's starting to feel like he misses Ted in a way. And you can see that, which I absolutely love as well. But obviously, Mr. Idiot Rupert's there. And we know Rupert is messing with his assistant in this episode. So Rebecca's seen that. And yeah, so I got a feeling that Rupert's life is going to get really messed up at the end of this season. I think he's going to lose the kid that he's got. He's going to lose his wife that he's got now. And I think he's going to lose Nate. I think his whole life is going to collapse. And I'm all there for it. I can't wait to see this guy fall. Just fall so far. Just hate him. Absolutely hate him. Now, in this one, we also obviously have Jamie and Roy teaming up here. So I love it when Roy rocks up at Jamie's house, 4 a.m. in the morning, and Jamie's like, it's 4 a.m. in the morning. I thought you were joking. I love that whole exchange, and Roy's dead serious. It's hilarious. But then as we get on later on in the episode, we see Roy's like, come on, we get one more in before dinner, knocking on the door. Jamie's already ready to go, and he's out there. I'm loving that, and I cannot wait to see that bond between them to grow with each episode. Those two are becoming my favorites, man. I want to see more of them. Obviously, we also see in this episode that the team figures out that the believe sign has been ripped. And then they get shown the footage that it was Nate. And I love it how they come out in the second half and they just lose their heads and they're just trying to hurt the West Ham fellas. It was absolutely hilarious. I mean, it's brilliant. And then obviously Richmond gets spanked 4-1 because they lose 3 players. But How that's going to play into the next episode, I don't know. It's going to be interesting because obviously Coach Beard and Roy did that. They showed him that, and Ted didn't want them to see that. So it's interesting. But as we transition to Ted himself, now we finally see that Ted is struggling here. He asks Sassy if she wants to go on a date with him. And you can see at that moment when he's getting turned down by Sassy that he's yearning for that sense of love. He's yearning for that sense of someone being there with him. He doesn't want to be alone. And I feel like we're just seeing this character in Ted who's Mr. Positive on the outside. He is just always positive, always projecting positivity for everyone, puts his own issues aside to help everyone else. But as we progress, we're starting to see the cracks come when it comes to Ted. And we finally get to see him unload a bit of that onto his ex-wife when he calls her up and he says that he's not okay with her relationship with the doctor, which is completely fair. I totally agree with him. Like, you're seeing the marriage counselor. Like, why are you seeing that guy? Like, why? That just doesn't make any sense. And obviously it's been playing on him, so he just lets his feelings out to her. And I think that is a weight off his shoulders. I really do. And we see that he is dealing with his internal struggles of that sense of belonging. And I think that's going to be moving forward. I think that's going to be a theme for Ted. And how is he going to deal with that? I don't know. And it's going to be interesting. That's what makes Ted such a great character, is he's able to put himself aside to help others. It's just brilliant. Obviously, we have Keely and her business and her friend going on, this whole situation going on there with the person who is funding her business coming to the West Ham game. There's this scene in the toilet that is just like a lot of information. Hilarious. And then obviously we find out who the actual person was that helped her. It's all hilarious. But obviously her friend is trying to, I don't know, it feels like her friend is using Keely to get her own business started or something like that, and trying these things without telling Keely, like, hey, I'm thinking about doing this. What do you think? And just doing it. So I'm starting to see a rift and some friction between Keely and the friend moving forward, which is going to be interesting as well. And her commenting on Jamie Tart in front of Keely as well. That's going to be interesting because even though she's not with Jamie, she still has this thing for Jamie in a way. So that's going to be interesting as well. And Rebecca, obviously, with Rupert, we see how it all ended. It's going to be interesting moving forward now. I cannot wait to see where we go in the next few episodes. I'm excited. This show is just absolutely incredible, and it's getting better and better and better with each episode. And I really enjoyed this episode. I cannot wait to see what happens with Nate and Ted. That's going to be insane. I'm just waiting for that episode when Ted says, I am sorry if I made you feel unworthy or stuff like that, or you didn't feel your worth or anything like that. Like, I'm getting the tissues ready for that episode, I'll tell you that. But I absolutely loved it. Let me know your thoughts down below. Did you love this episode? Smash it down there, smash that like button, click subscribe, and I'll see you guys next video. Until then, stay safe and peace out.